Welcome back to ESA Summer 21. We are raising money for Save the Children. Links to donate can be found below the stream. We would also like to thank Twitch and ViewSonic for sponsoring this event. Now it's time for toastedkat running Spyro. Take it away.
Hi. Yep, I'm toastedkat. I'm here with Randy Bobandy, or maybe Randy Booba, you'd like to call him. Yeah, there's not much to introduce in this run. We're going to get right into it, so I'm ready on time. Just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. So this category is 120%. It's the max percent category of this game. We're going to get 12,000 gems, 80 dragons, and 12 dragon eggs. Those are all the collectibles to get 100%. And then that's going to unlock the final level, which we're going to get another 2,000 gems, and that will be the 120 we need. So this game is a remaster of the PlayStation 1. Well, this game is a remaster of the whole trilogy from 2001. There's the 3 games, or from 99 to 2001, sorry. And it's all 3 games remastered in one package. The graphics are much better, made 20 years later, but the physics are all different. The gameplay, the controls are very different. It's a completely different speedrun from the PS1 games. So you're going to see you're loading into the first level here. So I'm just going to be running around. This is going to be a lot of the run. It's just, going, picking up all the gems. Just very first level. Oh, things are very spread out, so I'm just taking the best lines I can. This is first dragon of the run. They're supposed to give us like helpful tutorials, explain the game to us, but we already know what we're doing. We're just gonna be skipping those. Right here, gonna do a little bit of a jump to get up to this roof. It's a little dangerous because if you fall right there, you lose like 20 seconds or so, because you have to like go around the level and climb back up, but saves us like half a second of going around the other way and getting gems. Coming up here is going to be the first like thief of the run. Hopefully I don't mess this up, because this is a pretty annoying thief. Yeah. So if you remember those from the original game, they're kind of annoying, but even casually they're not too hard. In this game, they like crank them up to 11. They're just like super fast for whatever reason. We can like kind of manipulate where they're going and what they're doing to get them quicker like that. Oh, also, you may have noticed I jumped when I was flaming to get that thief, and that's because whenever you kill a thief, there is a cutscene that plays. It's about 4 seconds long, and if you are in the air when that cutscene starts, it actually, or I mean not when it starts, but when it's supposed to start, it just doesn't. So like I said, 12 thieves, it's like 4 second long. It adds up over the run very easily. Good time save. Jumping down in the well. And then I'm going to see right here, I'm actually, oh, button didn't work for a second. I guidebooked right there. One thing that was introduced in I think the 3rd game in the original trilogy as like something you unlock later on is the guidebook. Well, the guidebook's always there, and it's supposed to show you like your collectibles and your completion. But something that was introduced was guidebook warping, where you're able to like go to levels you've already been through the guidebook. We use that a lot in this run just to get back and skip a little bit of backtracking. So right there, it just skipped us leaving Stonehill. It's only like half a second there, but in other places it'll save us much more. Alright. Now we're going into Town Square. Randy, if you want to explain the cycle we're going for right here.
Yeah, so I'm Randy, as Kat mentioned earlier. I hadn't said anything yet, but I'm Randy. In Town Square, the whole level, there's enemies that are bulls, and they're running around pretty much all the time. There's a few that are like standing, but there's certain ones that you want to catch on certain cycles, so they're in certain positions, so you don't have to like kind of run out of the way to get them and collect their gem, because as you've seen, every enemy drops a gem, and it's 120%, so we have to collect everything, so we have to kill them all. But basically, Cat's gonna try to make this cycle on like a bull like a minute from now, because he wants to not have to wait and go get them.
Yeah, I don't think
he kind of has to play. Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Town Square, Stone Hill, definitely like pretty hard levels, kind of back to back. There's a lot that could go wrong.
Do a little short, just skip going up on that platform the intended way. And here's another one of the thieves. These first two thieves are some of the hardest in the game, and we're actually going to let him jump down and then on the way back up, get him there. They can be very annoying. It's nice that they're early on, so if you do miss one, you can just reset. And that's one of the bulls I was trying to hit the cycle on, but he's supposed to be going away from the dragon, not towards it, so that means I'm pretty late. Yeah, it's like, that's the one I was trying to kill. But not a big deal, we're just gonna kill them there. And then we're gonna guidebook again to the homeworld. And this one's gonna save a lot more time, because if you saw from when I came out of Stonehill, I ran over into like a side area and there was a bunch of stuff over there. We're gonna skip running all the way back from that and just go straight to the start. It's not used everywhere, but in the places it is, it's pretty nice.
It also means that in theory, because you're guidebooking to and from, we're going to guidebook again later, that you can kind of almost do Artisans, which is the first of 6 homeworlds, in kind of whatever order. You can either do the second half first or the first half first, I guess.
Yeah, we're going to be doing three levels now without guidebooking, so it really you could switch them around, but everyone pretty much does this route because it's just Stonehill is... The thief in there used to be like really inconsistent, but now that we figured it out, it's pretty good. But Stonehill and Town Square are definitely the two hardest levels in Artisans. So yeah, this is the first flight level, and there's one per homeworld in these except for the last one, but as you can see, Spyro just gains the ability to fly out of nowhere. And there's there's 8 like objective, or there's 8 of like 4 different sets of objectives, so we're trying to get all of the things. Oh, I actually got it. So, yeah, like I said, there's 8 planes, 8 arches, etc. we're trying to get, and we're just flying through to break all of them. That right there was a arch proxy. If you watch, like, this arch break, it'll, like, break into pieces, and on that one in particular, you can, like, ride one of the pieces, kind of, to get you launched forward. And I haven't been hitting that recently, so I'm kind of happy I did there. It's just, like, a second time save, but it's pretty cool when you get it.
Coming up towards the end here, Cat is going to be trying to go for an animation cancel where he's going to try to use like the back hitbox of the flame to hit the side of the geometry, which cancels Spyro just flying upwards for like 4 or 5 seconds. There is another way to skip that animation that we'll talk about later when he goes for it, but pretty much all the flights have those animation cancels.
Except for one, yeah, which we're going to be doing that different one.
Cool if I fit in a couple of donations.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we have $5 from Audrey. Hey, Kat, you were cute, and I'm proud of you for all that you do.
Thank you.
We have $50 from Bard621. This is to give a chance for all the children who are having trouble through no fault of their own. Here's a way we can make it better for everyone. Donation to Runner's Choice.
I'll put that towards whatever the next incentive is. So coming up here, something they teach you early on is that the metal enemies can't be flamed. They like absorb your flame and don't take any damage, so you usually have to charge them. And then big enemies don't get charged, so you have to flame them. And then this is the first instance of like sometimes there'll be special enemies where they have to be taken out a certain way. These guys have metal on the front, so you are supposed to wait until they turn around. But if you do like a bait where they'll like roar at you if they see you, you can just walk behind them and flame their back. It saves a couple seconds of waiting. And then, this guy back here, so I have to go around for him.
Something also to note about the routing for Artisans specifically is that, unlike the original game for PS1 or PS2, whatever, we can't get into Toasty early, so we actually do have to leave through a vortex, which is going to be the vortex at the end of Dark Hollow.
Yeah, they're like the end of level leave portals. There is like an exit level button in the menu, which we use almost all of the time to leave the level, so we don't have to actually go over there. But we do have to leave one vortex in Artisans to consider a level complete, because Toasty is like the first boss, so they want us to finish a level. It's kind of like an intro to the game before we go fight the first boss. And this one's the best just because you can see there's red gems right here, so we can just jump right up into the vortex right after.
And as Kat said, we're kind of getting towards now the first boss of Spyro 1. And the Spyro 1 bosses are
pretty pathetic.
Pretty pathetic. I was trying to figure out a better word to say than that, but
no,
they're pretty bad. Like,
they're just easy, all of them.
They're basically just, you flame them, and then they run to another spot, and then you flame them, as comparatively to like Spyro 2 and 3, where there's actually like dedicated boss fights.
Yeah.
But for this one, this is actually like probably the hardest boss level, and it's only specifically because all the other enemies are inconsistent and difficult to kill. Difficult to kill well, rather.
There you go. Yeah, so these dogs have 2 hits, so like the first time they'll get mad at you. Oh. And then the second time, oh my, I don't know what's happening right now. Yeah, so like that. The first time they get mad at you and like get burned, and the second time they die. But we're able to do something called roll flame cancels, where if by flaming and then rolling to cancel the flame and then jumping to cancel the roll, you can get out another flame very quickly. And I'm dropping frames, so I'm actually failing a lot of these. But you're able, if you do it right, to just kill the dogs very quickly. And then this part, if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know this is the boss. We're just gonna flame him for the first time and let him walk away. These dogs are much more threatening than Toasty would ever be. I think even for casual players. Oh, okay, yeah, that's not great.
So as you saw there, kind of just sometimes the dogs just don't take hits.
Mm-hmm.
They'll just go through your flame, and now he's out of sparks, but it's all good.
Yeah. I'm going to, real quick, save and quit here, actually. Oh. So, because this game, like I said, is a trilogy, it's 3-in-1, there is a main menu. And if you quit to the main menu and then load back into your save file, it'll do a couple things, which is put you at the start of the level, which, because we were already there, it didn't move us anywhere. It'll also refresh sparks to full health, so I don't have to worry about going out of my way for fodder, because there's not any on the way to this balloonist. And then coming up, I'm going to try and get, yeah. So that was an early balloonist load, and Randy, if you want to explain what that actually is.
Yeah, basically, when you get to a balloonist, they all like auto talk to you, but if you jump in the air and then get through their text box while you're in the air, and, you know, move, say, to like go to Peacekeepers or whatever the next homeworld is, the game will load in the next homeworld slightly earlier. It'll change the address of where you are, so we get, because we use load this time for timing, you get about 2 seconds per EBL, and you can get 5 EBL, so that's about 10 seconds per level, or per homeworld, rather.
Again, it's not much on its own, but through the course of the run, it adds up, especially at the top level. So we're going to be going into Dry Canyon as the first level here. We used to go in Night Flight, which is across that like lake of goo you saw, and we used to do like a damage boost, and it was really kind of inconsistent. You could easily take too much damage and die, or if you came into this homeworld with too little health, it would just not be possible. But recently, there was a reroute for Peacekeepers where we do the levels in a different order, and it's a couple seconds faster, but more importantly, it cuts out the need to do that damage boost, which is very nice, because it's really frustrating to make it through Toasty and the inconsistent dogs and then immediately die to trying to get into the first level. That was never fun.
Dry Canyon, kind of the first level that has these fan chests where you have to flame them 3 times to the fan chests were in Town Square rather, but you have to flame those fan chests 3 times to get their thing. Sometimes the fan chests are a bit wonky and don't work properly, and they'll take like 5 or 6 flames. And then also spring chests where you have to flame them and then jump up and get the gem. You can kind of do some good movement with the spring chest where you kind of charge up and you'll act as if you've hit the spring chest and you can grab it without needing to flame.
Yeah, you like bump it with the bottom of your box, and because the gem like supposed to launch up, you just are above the spring chest. It goes right into you. Pretty nice. Oh, that gem is stuck up there. That happens sometimes. It's just like a weird piece of geometry it can get stuck up on. Another fan chest. You can't really speed these up besides just grabbing the gem out of the air to go a little faster. Another thief right here, if I hopefully do this right. Yeah. If you want to like hug the wall right there, which baits him into running right, and then if you flame on your way down, he'll run right into it and you kill him very quickly. That one's kind of annoying, and it's especially annoying if you miss it, because you have to do a lot of these in this game. You have to just do like multiple laps around, even if you know what you're doing, to recover it. So, and yeah, I got the first double spring chest, but I missed the second. It's the same idea where you're bumping it with your hitbox, but you have to get a very specific height jump to get the second one on the way down. So it's a little inconsistent, but it's cool when you get it. Also, I went a little bit to the right in this room, and that's because I baited these birds to fly earlier. It just makes it so they're both like flying at you and you can get them on the way. A little nicer. And then another container. This level kind of introduces you to all the containers, even though we did see the first ones in Town Square. Those are the fireworks crates where you're supposed to like light them and then wait for them to blow up and get all the gems, but if you charge right into them, all the gems immediately home in, so it's usually faster to just take the damage and do that, but not always. Oh, like you saw in the second one. Like, we had to turn around and get the chests anyway, so it's not worth it to take damage. Also, on the note of taking damage, Sparks will... I'm on exit level, yeah. So Sparks is our health. If you see, he's flying around picking up gems for us. He will turn. He's yellow at full health. That means you can take 3 hits. Blue is 2, green is 1, and then after that he'll disappear and stop picking up gems for you, which is you almost always want to avoid. There's only one situation in the run where we intentionally go sparksless. And then I'm gonna do. Oh, nice. Randy, if you want to explain what that was.
Yeah. So as Kat mentioned earlier, this game is the trilogy, so it has the main menu. And what you can do is, if you enter a level, or enter a portal, which is how you get to obviously all the levels, you can pause on the first frame of entering the portal, and the game will recognize you as being in that level because you're in the portal. But if you pause, and it says this level is Clifftown, so it'll say Clifftown at the bottom, and then you can quit game, continue, which takes you back to the main menu, and then just spam continue, and you get put into the level and skip Spyro's flying in animation, because every level he kind of does like a little loop, but on certain levels he does a big loop, and like I said earlier, because we run loadless, it's a bit faster on some of the levels. Like I believe this level saves around 4 seconds if you get first try flying.
4.5, yeah.
Yeah. So it's good to hit. It saves RTA, but we don't run RTA, but it's always nice to not have to wait for 25 seconds for a load.
Yeah, just like the big loop-to-loop at the start takes a while. Also, kind of skipped over it, or didn't mention it when I was doing it, but there was, what they call it, like the triple threat of this level, because right, all in a row right there, I did one very precise jump to get up to like that rooftop early to get some gems, because usually you're supposed to climb all the way up and then like glide down to make it on top. And then I lit the firework early, because you're also supposed to go down there and light the firework, and then climb back up to get that metal chest. That's what that pile of gems, if you saw, was from. And then I also got the quick kill on the thief, which can be kind of inconsistent. So it's nice that I got all 3. Then right here, you might have thought I skipped these gems, but you can do a little hill climb to get back up. It's a little faster than going out of your way right when you get down there.
The big thing with getting that fly and skip is once you get to the end of the level, because we pretty much always exclusively either guidebook or exit the level just from the menu, you have to menu back up because the menu in SRT has like cursor memory, so he was on quick game continue and he still will be, so he just has to remember to go back up to exit level.
Yeah, so I did it pretty quick, but I had to remember to menu up to exit level, and that only happens if you get the fly-in, so you just have to keep it in the back of your mind that you have to fix the menu before. It's kind of frustrating because if you quit game, you lose like 2 or 3 seconds, so you get the frame perfect pause and save time, and then you just immediately lose it to being dumb. So
So that was our first instance of a cannon in Spyro. We're gonna see first of two, but if you notice, Cat went really fast on it. What you can do is you can actually do double, triple, or quadruple inputs to make it go really fast. I believe on that one, Cat just does double, where he holds a direction on the stick and the D-pad of his controller, and you can also then later he'll do 3 inputs and he'll hold I think he holds either one of the WASD keys or one of the directional keys.
Yeah,
and you can just spin
left or right arrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just do as many directional inputs of the same type. So right on analog, right on D-pad, right on the arrow keys, and then on WSD, you D. And for every one, it just increases the speed for whatever reason. So you can do multiple to get around or to turn it faster. On that one, you just have to wait for the cannon to fire anyways, so it doesn't really matter. But on the other one in the game, you'll see later. And then this is our next boss, quote-unquote boss. Just gonna walk by him and flame him in the back. Same idea as those guys in Dark Hollow, where he has metal on the front so you can't flame him, but he'll then turn around and expose his weak point. And it's literally just you flame him 3 times, same as pretty much every other boss in this game. Funny thing though is that the final boss of this game, Gnasty Gnorc, only takes 2 hits, so he's kind of one of the weakest bosses in the game, or the weakest. Funny enough.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he is just the weakest.
Cool. If I fit in a couple more donations.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a flight level here, so same thing as the first one.
All right, we have a $15 donation from Sinosure saying Tressa, the best girl. That's going towards the Octopath Traveler Single Story Big War. And then we have $30 from Sir Boris saying, hey, Cat, good luck on the run. Such an amazing runner and fantastic friend. Can't wait to see what months of work will come to here at ESA. Don't forget to donate $5 for every bonk.
Oh, yeah. He messaged me right before the run and told me I should do that, and I didn't say it. Yeah, I'll donate $5 per bonk. He's supposed to be counting for me, so... This is another flight level, same as Sunny Flight, so if you have any more donations to read, you can go ahead.
No donations at the moment, but I'd like to remind everyone that Save the Children was the first global organization devoted solely to serving children's needs and securing their rights. They are often the first and only child-focused organization working in the hardest-to-reach places where it's toughest to be a child. As a result, Save the Children's teams have been proactive in preparedness and pandemic threats.
The big thing with flights, and what you're seeing Cat do a lot in this level, is he wants to stay as close to the water as possible because you actually fly a little bit faster. That's why you saw him kind of dipping down and charging down when he kind of had to go up for some of these. Just want to stay close to go. And again, another animation cancel there.
And then whether it's faster charge down or glide down depends on how far you have to go, so you just want to know which is optimal for each drop. And yeah, because I should explain for the animation cancel, Spyro does a big loop-to-loop when you finish the level, so if you bonk him into anything during that, it'll just cancel it out. Oh. Coming up in just a second, so we're going to be doing another guidebook warp. This is the reroute, the main part of the reroute that we were talking about. This room's kind of in the middle of nowhere, so I can guidebook back to Shemp. And I don't know if we mentioned it, but this game is timed in loadless for PC runs. So the fact that we are just guidebooking over here and then immediately exiting level, so we're not losing any time by doing this. It's just pausing the timer. So it puts us back over by Shemp, and then that's a lot closer to Ice Cavern than that room was. Oh yeah, that double spring is the hardest in the game because they're spaced very weirdly apart. So I'm glad. Nice to get. It looks so cool when you get it too.
And this is the final level of the second homeworld, which is obviously Peacekeepers, but this level, there's not a whole lot with this level. It's kind of just getting through it, taking the best lines, as you know, Kat has mentioned before, and just making sure to not take any hits, because these, obviously taking hits is bad, but these enemies will just like smack you onto the floor, and then you'll just be a pancake on the floor for a little bit.
Yeah, also, would be good to know is that the levels, their homeworlds themselves are levels, you probably noticed. There's dragons and gems and collectibles in them as well. And all of the levels, besides like rare cases like the Toasty one and Artisans, all of the levels are open for you to go into from when you enter the homeworld. So like Shemp was the third of 5 levels in here. We don't always do the boss last. I think actually Shemp's the only boss we don't do last, even though otherwise you could do them in any order.
Yeah, it just so happens that pretty much every other boss is just happens to be like right next to the balloonist, so which is how you move from homeworld to homeworld. So we just end up doing those. Also, Kat took an intentional death there after getting the key, just because you know we want to come back and get this key chest, but don't want to have to run all the way back once we collect all the gems in the later part of the level.
Yeah, I kind of blanked. Forgot I was supposed to die for a second, so I went a little farther than I was supposed to, but yeah. If you've seen the key chest, there's a key somewhere else in the level and the key chest, and you have to go find the key and then bring it to the chest. So a lot of the levels that have them are routed around that. And like we said, that it's on that island, and there's no real easy way to route, get it like without dying to get back up to that key. So just take a quick death and warp over to the dragon. Because the dragons, once you collect them, they act as checkpoints, so if you die at any point in the level, you'll respawn at a dragon.
So this is one of, I think, the very few kind of levels that have big guys that you can charge, and those are the big guys with the metal. And how they kind of work is that if their altitude changes, then they'll die. So you'll see them, they're supposed to be, you know, knocked off the edge, and then their gem will home into you and they'll die. But Kat here will try to push one of them up onto a chest, which allows for him to just take 1 bonk instead of 2 bonks.
Yeah, it just saves this having to hit him again. But as you can see, you like bonk on him and it takes a while before they reset, so it saves like 2 seconds or so, if I had to guess. Oh.
Yeah.
Also, just a little unintended jump right there to get over to the second half of this faster. It's a little faster doing like just do like 2 circles around because of the way everything is spaced out. Right. Not bad. And then we should start explaining kind of the history of this run and something that's going to be coming up in the next level, the start of the next homeworld. This game, or the original games on the PS1, being on PS1, you could play with controller only. And when this game was originally made, it was for consoles only, so also controller. But when this game was ported to PC, it added keyboard mouse support, which even then, almost everyone still ran on controller just because it's more comfortable for a lot of people. But there was one runner in, I think it was in November of last year, named Lackluster, who started getting good on keyboard and mouse, and he noticed that if you, or just at any point, you can actually turn sharper by steering Spyro with the mouse than you can with like turning him on a controller with an analog. And for most of the run, it's very small time difference, like you would save using that, and there's like disadvantages to using keyboards, so it pretty much even out if you're like running, you know, the whole run on controller versus the whole run on keyboard, except for supercharges, where you'll see in just a minute Spyro is able to, or a couple of these levels now starting in this homeworld are going to have ramps that have like arrows on them, and once you start running on them you'll get like a it's called a supercharge, where you get like a speed boost, and you're able to keep it until you bonk or like just stop it, and then you have to go back to the ramp and get it again. And it's usually intended for like very specific, like break this chest or get to this area. But because we are able to abuse the turning with the keyboard mouse, you're gonna see we take it a lot further than it's probably intended for us to. And pretty much every level that has a supercharged ramp in this game has been complete. It looks like completely different from how it used to before that was discovered.
It's also important to note this is the only level that he's going into now that we're actually not going to complete 100% right off the bat. Normally, and as you've seen so far, every level we've gone in, we've gotten all the gems, all the dragons, all the whatever eggs if they're there. Whereas in this level, it's kind of set up with all the new supercharged stuff to kind of do it in 2 parts. So we're going to do another part, leave, go to another level, and then because we have that use of the guidebook, we use it as fast travel and as a way to get back here.
Oh. Yeah, okay. I tried to get a slowdown, like on that wall. If you lean into walls, you slow down and lose some of your speed, which you kind of need to get this, and oh no. I think it's going to mess with the spiders later on, so we'll see. Okay, there we go. So yeah, you can see these spiders are like giant metal ones, so you're not supposed. You have to like, you see that fairy to my right? You're normally supposed to like get a kiss that's able to give you like a super flame power up so that you can actually kill them. Oh no! Wow, that was like the worst spot to bonk. He was in a really bad place. So I think the best way to back this up is going to be just go kill him right now. I didn't even get the fodder. That's fine. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna take a death here. Yeah, unfortunate, but this is probably the hardest supercharged in the game, even though it's the first one, so not too surprising that I might mess it up. So normally, if you get the whole thing, this would be all one continuous supercharge that you take into this cave after getting all the spiders, and then you're usually able to break these fan chests, and then get this thief, and did I miss one? I did. Damn. And then, like we said, we're not going to complete this level 100%. We're just going to leave now. It's unfortunate that it didn't go well at all, but that's how it goes. Like
It's hard.
Yeah, it's like the hardest supercharge in the run, so it's not surprising. Big reset point. And then immediately following that one, we're going to try this one. Oh, wow. Yeah, these are not going well. I was trying to get a slowdown on the side of that wall right before I jumped, because there is a metal key chest in here, and if you slow down just enough on that wall before you get up, you're able to go and get the key chest, and then also take it out towards this level. But I leaned a little too hard into it and bonked, unfortunately.
It's just another $5.
Yeah, Boris is going to be counting, isn't he?
Speaking
Alpine...
of $5,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I am awesome080 donated $5 to say I'm just glad he got out of Stonehill.
Yeah, it's kind of a meme that I reset in Stonehill a lot. It's like I said, everything's kind of spaced out in that level, so when you're trying to do it very optimally, you can easily just like not pick up a gem or not kill an enemy, and it's annoying.
So with Alpine, the way this level, the shtick of this level is that There's wizards that move either platforms or, as Cat is standing right next to, stairs kind of up and down. And obviously with that, it means that there's so many different cycles that he's going to try to hit. And because you obviously want to just, keep charging and not have to wait for a door to come down, because that wastes time just standing there. And he should, if he doesn't mess up, kind of get most of them and get fortunate cycles. But if he takes a hit or is a bit slow in an area, he risks missing it.
Yeah, I did miss that shit. Okay, no. Yeah, I tried to grab that gem out of the air and from that one wizard I killed, and it's hard to see because it spawns inside of him, so unfortunate. It's okay, this cycle should still line up. Ooh, right here. Yep. And there's one more moving platform. Oh. But this one I'm going to be able to just go around since... Just do that, since we're waiting on it anyways. Also, just a little thing to note is to skip the dragon cutscenes, the button is triangle, but that's also the same button to make Spyro zoom in and look around. And you don't want to do that because you aren't able to move while he's zoomed in. So what I do on any dragon where I need to hold, or where I'm going forward right after it, I'm going to be holding square with my thumb to charge, and then mashing with my pointer finger triangle to skip the cutscene. That way, he starts charging instead of looking in. You can't start looking in while you're charging, so it's just a little bit nicer. You don't have to worry about timing it. Waiting on this thief to be safe. Okay. Yeah, that thief used to be one of the most annoying in this game because it's hard to tell, or we weren't able to tell for a long time, but his laughing cycle actually determines how quickly he runs away. My best guess is that if he's mid laugh, then it doesn't play his startled runaway animation at the start, and he just starts going. And we didn't know that for a long time, so we just kind of felt like it was random whether you'd get him or not. And it was found out that if you wait until he stops laughing and then go, you can get him every time without fail. Very nice. Also,
that was found by Runner Lackluster as well.
Yeah. Also, I just saved and quit there to get sparks back because you take 2 damage abuses in that level, and I had not full sparks from earlier, so you just go sparkless.
Yeah, so this is why we do it in 2 parts, is just so then you don't have to, come up to this area and then go back around and whatnot. It's just faster to do it all in kind of 2 separate parts rather than all at once.
Yeah, you can see, because, when we start back in the beginning, there's a left and a right path you can take, so if you just restart and then take 1 path each time, it works out nice. And then we're going to be using the same Supercharge ramp as before, but to do this end of the level, and hopefully I can get at least one of these Supercharges right now.
And as you can see...
Yeah. I was able to jump into the thief to skip the animation, but again, just a little bit too hard into the wall, so instead of slowing down, I bonked.
But yeah, as you can see, that when you have Supercharge, you can just go straight through things, as you did earlier, like fan chests, like spring chests, and the fireworks chest, which just is so nice just because you don't have to then either wait for the fireworks chest, or wait for the fan chest, or wait for the spring chest. It all you just keep charging.
I just noticed I am missing a 5 gem somewhere. Where is it? There's a 5 gems. So where did it? I must have missed it during the Supercharge. My gem count isn't right. Uh-oh. What is it?
Is it in a level?
Yeah, it's right here. No, my gem count for the homeworld wasn't right. I don't know how that missed, but... Alright. So, well, this one... This should be a pretty easy Supercharge. Hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Yeah, you kind of get launched off of that wall at the perfect angle to get that strong chest, and then get both of those enemies while keeping your charge.
Yeah, that wizard moves a wall in and out, so you want to like go around that and not bonk against it. All right. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't want to blame the game and be like, it's the game's fault, but I am, for whatever reason, losing a lot of frames right now, so that's not helping right now. Not sure what that is about.
You just got to play at 30.
I should.
Which is something we should mention and talk about now, which is a great segue.
Perfect.
Basically, this game's physics is tied to your frame rate. So, on the leaderboards, we are... you kind of are forced to play within 30 and like between 30 and 60 inclusive of those numbers. So what typically happens is runners will either play on 30 or 50, and then you might be asking me, well, what's the difference, Randy? And the difference is that and both have advantages, is that on 30, on lower FPSs, you jump higher, and on higher FPSs, certain things like gems falling, especially in Spyro 1, they'll fall a bit faster, so you don't have to kind of wait for them to fall down. And also, some wall glides are a little bit easier on higher FPSs. And with Spyro 1 specifically, Alpine Ridge will break on 60 FPS, which if you've ever played this game casually and wondered why your game breaks on Alpine Ridge when you play at 60, it just breaks. And you would have to switch it.
Yeah. Unfortunately, this game never received a patch after coming to PC.
Did your game crash?
I think it did. Oh, no, okay. That's never happened before.
That was a really weird death.
That was an intended death, by the way, but I'm not sure. I've never seen that. Okay.
Like, you lost all sound and...
Yeah.
That was weird.
Wow.
That's the quintessential marathon. I've never seen that before, so...
Yeah, for real. I've only had this game crash on me like once before, but that was very strange. I thought I was gonna have to restart. I was worried. But yeah, I'm going to be finishing off this level, just climbing the hill and getting all these gems and enemies, and then doing another flight level. So if you have any donations or incentives you want to read off now, it'd be a good time.
Well, we could remind people that coming up soon is going to be the Fire Red Leaf Green game, and there's 3 bid wars going on right now. You can name the trainer, you can name the starter, and you can name Mewtwo. Right now, Big John is in the lead for the trainer name. As for Mewtwo, right now there's Pidgey is in second place, but you're going to have to get some donations in if you want to see Pidgey overcome that other name, and that name is John Cena.
I might be wrong about this, but I think John Cena being the Pokemon names is a running joke through multiple marathons. Yeah, same thing on this flight here. We're gonna be, I'm gonna be dropping and like immediately turning around because the best way to deal with these planes that are right at the start of the level, and then it's like, yeah, like this, and then right after that, I'm just gonna be staying close to the water, getting all the other objectives. The same thing as the other levels. The key to getting good times in like the whole game, if you're speedrunning it, but in flight levels specifically, or especially, is just like, you know, taking tight lines between things, cutting your corners tight. In the flight levels, you want to maximize your time close to the water when you can. And then I'm going to be doing another animation cancel. Oh, if I don't miss things. This arch right here, just gonna hit the side of it. It's gonna go straight into the crystal. Yeah. 53 is not terrible, but with the missed chest. And the next level going into is going to be Blowhard. Kind of a running theme with this game is that we've said before, the bosses aren't hard, but the boss levels usually are. Like we said, Toasty can be really annoying with all the dogs being inconsistent. Shemp's really easy, but then this level is a mess of enemies that try and snipe you, and a cycle you have to make in the middle, and some annoying platforms that move that you want to like catch at the right time, so can be really annoying. And if you get hit by any of these enemies at the start, you're just like really off cycle, so it can be difficult to recover, but see what we can do. No.
And something that you do in this level, as you just saw kind of Cat do, is take some damage abuses to get these fireworks chests early, because like we have said before, otherwise you're just waiting on them, and it, as Kat said, the importance of the cycles in this specific level is quite good. And this, he's done it a bit before, but I'll explain it now about boosted jumping.
Oh yeah.
Where if you're charging and then kind of let go of charge and then jump really quickly, you'll kind of preserve some of the momentum forward and upwards from the charge. At least that's how I understand it. And basically you can kind of make jumps. You go a little bit forward, but you go a bit higher so that you can hit things like he hit in the middle of this level, hit those druids on the moving platforms. It just gets you up there and lets you just kind of not have to wait for those platforms to move up or down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I said it before. There's one part of the level or one part of the game specifically that we want to go Sparkless on, and I actually didn't because my elf was just better than usual. So it doesn't matter. It's just at the ending when I killed Blowhard right there, I want to catch the gems out of the air, and instead of letting Sparks get them. But he doesn't actually pick them up until they hit the ground anyways. So as long as you do it well, it doesn't matter. So still good. And it means I get to go into the start of here with good sparks, because usually a lot of the time you come off this balloon with no sparks, and it makes it a little annoying to get those gems right at the start, because there's a couple reds just lying around. Oh. Slipped right past that chest. Coming up is Terrace Village, and this is another pretty cycle-based level. The first part, not so much, but after the first dragon, and we get the second half of the level, there will be a bunch of electric floors being shocked by those guys, like you saw in the homeworld, and I want to keep on a relatively tight schedule to make all of those ideally. So, Randy, if you want to take it for a second so I can focus.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, there's just... The cycles aren't... global, so they're not just like constantly going. I believe you have to kind of get more towards that area, so they should generally be the same every time if you know are playing.
Yeah, they
well.
load in right before you get to this first dragon that I'm about to get to in just a minute.
So
okay, just making sure.
But yeah, basically he just wants to make sure that he's not like doesn't take like an extra damage, because these are electric, so then they'll just like stun you again like every hit pretty much. But he has to kind of do a jump across this water here, because there's fireworks that will break some of the strong chests that are over here, and normally you're supposed to kind of jump from here from like a later section in the level, but because we can get over here, we can kind of get everything and move and complete the level as we go forward rather than having to backtrack. And so far he's kind of doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm on the right cycle, so as long as I don't mess anything up right here, we should be fine.
It should also say that there's a fodder by all of those kind of gems that he was just at, and you saw him kind of take a bit of a wider turn there, and what that does is that allows Sparks to not actually pick up the fodder, so that he'll pick up the gems instead. Otherwise, you would have to touch every gem manually for like a couple seconds while Sparks eats the fodder.
Yeah, he doesn't go after gems while he's eating the fodder, except if you time it very precisely, where he is picking up a gem while you like start him eating a fodder. He'll actually continue to pick up gems even though he's going after the fodder. And there was one spot in Wizard Peak I did that intentionally, but it's because it's a very narrow ledge and you like have to be picking up the gem as you hit the fodder. So there's not any other places I intentionally go for it, but there are a couple places where if I happen to get it, it would be nice.
That's the first level of Beastmaker Zone. This category has turned into pretty much every homeworld is like really tough, tough to do well. There's just so much kind of good movement, not taking hits. There's just so much to this level or to this run that every homeworld is just quite difficult. And now you're gonna see him go into the fourth flight of the game, Wild Flight.
Arguably the hardest.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces in this one. There's boats and planes. And you just kind of want to make good cycles, and if you mess up anything, you kind of lose the fast cycles that you're going for.
And just a side note, I think I did fix my frame rate issue for the most part, so hopefully the gameplay will be getting a lot better from here.
It's pixely. I don't know if... Like it's... Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not dropping frames, but it's...
Yeah, okay.
Definitely a little bit pixely. But yeah. But yeah, you're kind of seeing him leave planes going here just while he goes and kind of gets other things, but they'll all kind of make the cycles. Funny thing to note with this level specifically, on the Nintendo Switch version, the planes fly the opposite way, and nobody knows why. They just do. We like have this theory that it's about the memory, but it
we really don't
make
know.
sense
It's
if
just
they
a
would.
guess.
And here's another level, Misty Bog, where he's going to try to get another one of these fly-ins. We don't do a lot of them. I think there's only 3 levels
Yeah, there we go.
in the course of the whole run.
There's 4 I go for.
And do you go for high caves?
Yeah, and I didn't even get a pause because I was a little too late, so... We'll just pretend I don't and say I'm 2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2. We're only going for 3.
Like we said, we're playing at 50 FPS, and they are frame perfect, so they're not too consistent, but it's nice to get. It's like a... Same thing in this one, it's 4.5 seconds, so... Misty Bog here. A lot of people probably remember for being the hardest level in the game, and for the speedrun, I wouldn't say it's the hardest level, but it's still it's like the hardest enemy. The hardest level because of the enemies, I would say. Like, a lot of the superchargers, I think, are more difficult, but these enemies are brutal. You'll especially see at the end of the level, there's a cave over there that just has, like, 10 frogs. Probably not 10, but like a lot of frogs and a lot of metal guys, all close quarters, and it's pretty hard to not take a hit while you're going through there. But overall, this is going well so far.
Yeah, you definitely... some of these enemies, especially the kind of like... I don't even know what they're trees or something, like the roots. They'll like
exactly
eat you for a little bit. So when you take damage like that, it was longer in the original games, and it's a bit not as long in this, but it's still longer than not taking that damage.
Yeah. So yeah, luckily I've already got through all of those except for one, which shouldn't ever give me an issue, but they're like probably the slowest enemy to get hit by, aside from just taking a death outright.
Another funny FPS thing with this level specifically is that if you ever want to not really have to worry about the frogs licking you and you taking damage, turn your game to 30 FPS and you can just charge straight at them. And if you play on any other FPS, you would have to jump over them, over their tongue.
For the most part, yeah. Also, just swag jump right there, landed on invisible ledge to get around there a little quicker. It's a little quicker to charge than it is to glide, so just stop gliding a little sooner. And yeah, another reason this level's brutal is that fodder I passed right there is the only fodder in the level besides the one right at the start, so there's no place to get health back outside of death abusing if you do take damage, really. Yeah, and here's the part where there's just a lot of enemies really close together, and that didn't go too bad. One hit's alright, I'll take that.
Yeah, one hit there is really good, and you do want to be entering on pretty much either blue or yellow sparks, because if you're entering on green or none, like you're...
Yeah, not gonna go
It's
well.
very easy to take 1 or 2 damages there and take a death.
Yeah, and right there, I was just trying to... I couldn't remember if I got flying or not, so I was just checking the menu to make sure I actually exited level. Oh, okay.
That boar outside of Misty Bog also dies intentionally when you leave the level, so that's why we didn't kill him on before entering.
I don't know why that's intentional. It happens in the original game too, so it has to be, but I don't know why, to be honest. Maybe just so you don't get insta-hit when you leave the level.
Yeah.
But yeah, right at the start of Treetops here, if you've played this game, you probably remember Treetops as the most confusing level, and maybe your hardest level, if you think of it that way, because of the secrets and the supercharges here. But we're just gonna, as you probably guessed, just break them. So I did a little bit of a cutscene skip right there. I just walked around the trigger before it actually loaded in and was able to skip it. It's like a 3 or 4 second cutscene. Ow. And then I was actually able to get the quick kill on the thief, which is, it barely saves any time at all, but it's just a little cool looking. If you can get him before he actually runs away. And then I picked up the key there, but if everything goes right, I shouldn't need it. So, just a little bit of a backup. Usually I don't go for it.
And as we kind of showed in Magic Crafters, when you have Supercharge, pretty much always Cat is going to be using mouse and keyboard for these turn speeds.
Mm-hmm.
So he can always keep it and kind of take it as long as he needs.
Okay. I missed the spring chest, which I wanted to get with the Supercharge, but otherwise that was good. That one's kind of scary because there's a metal chest right at the end, so if you mess up the Supercharge, you just have to do it again. There's no backup. And then this probably won't look like it, but this also is like probably the second hardest Supercharge. So I'm gonna... No, damn. I'll try it one more time, because I'm gonna go back to the dragon anyways. But you there's 3 fan chests here, and they're all really close to walls, so you need to get a perfect turn so that you're actually able to hit them without bonking. One more time. No, okay. Well, unfortunate. It's a good thing I got the key, though. I'm not low on lives. No, we're fine. Okay. So I'm just gonna come over here and flame them. Ooh. I'm gonna switch to controller again for a second, since I'm gonna be doing just a little bit of running around. I do feel more comfortable on controller. You have to know how to use keyboard and mouse just enough if you're doing high level runs to be able to, because when you switch, right now I just switched back to keyboard and mouse, so you want a good transition. You know, the cutscene, when you're waiting for the dragon, you have a couple seconds, but when you don't have that, you want to be able to use keyboard and mouse while you're waiting to get to that point. So, other supercharge trick here, I'm going to, if I do this right, turn back around and land on the ramp. Yeah. So the supercharge kind of builds up, and when you get the second boost of it, you are able to get higher jumps. So by doing a loop on that platform, it stalls it long enough that I'm able to get that higher jump and get up there, instead of doing it the intended way, where normally you're supposed to go around the level and ride on multiple ramps to get up there. And then one last supercharge. Get over here and go over to the secret island. And this is normally where the thief that was at the start of the level is supposed to be, but because I got him earlier, he is not here. I already have his gem, so I can just leave. Perfect. Yeah, that strat that I went for and died twice on, I should have stopped doing that a long time ago, but I'm just stubborn and refuse to, because it saves 2 seconds, I think. But it's so risky, and I mess it up so often.
But it's really cool, so.
It is really cool when you do get it. But I didn't, unfortunately. This is going to actually probably be the hardest boss in the game, and like legitimately the hardest boss. And you'll see like when we get up there, but he has like a bunch of these pylons that turn on and off, and you have to charge into them when they're not shocking to be able to break them. And he throws enemies at you while you're doing it, and the cycles aren't consistent, so it's just kind of a mess, and you have to deal with it as it comes up. Oh. But first I'm going to be doing... It's like kind of a theme with these bosses where they're all like within their own level, as we said. They're not like a boss arena, so the first half of the level is usually just a standard level, and then you get to the second half where the boss is. And you fight him there.
This boss is also notorious for being the jankiest boss as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he'll just not walk properly. He'll fall into the goo, into the acid, and you'll have to jump into the acid to get all the gems.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very, very silly.
Very rare when that stuff happens, but when it does, it can be really frustrating. Also, I'm gonna jump here. That one banana this monkey throws is so frustrating. I've died so many times because he just, for whatever reason, throws it at like the perfect time. So if you're turning around right there, it just hits you as you're turning around. You don't have time to react. So yeah, these are the pylons. That's Metalhead, big metal guy. That's the first phase, which actually went pretty well. Like, didn't have to wait on any of those, really. Oh. But yeah, he throws the enemies at you, and if you don't kill them when he throws them at you, the gem ends up in, like, the back of the arena, so you have to, like, pay attention to the pylons and break them whenever you can. And you also have to keep track of the enemies and make sure none of them get past you. It's also really inconsistent. Also, there's a green gem right there. Yeah, the reason that green gem was there is he just threw the first enemy in this, like, set of enemies. Because if you saw, I got a bunch of gems that were, like, above him in the first phase. Those were all enemies that died, that were supposed to be, like, his ammo supply. And he threw the first monkey, like, while he was running down to the second phase, and that's why that green gem was just not where it was supposed to be. But overall, both went pretty well, both cycles. And then all these gems here are dead enemies that they just instant dies, and you should take the boss out. Alright. Love to see 500 out of 500 there. Metalhead's the level I miss gems on the most often, if it happens.
Especially with those enemies that turn into gems after you like kill them on phase 1 and phase 2. Sometimes their gems are just not always in the same spots. Or sometimes they, like what, like, happened with that other enemy where, like, he kind of drops it and stuff like that. It's easy to miss one in Metalhead.
Just gonna wait on the cycle. It was a little too slow. Yeah, I tried to do something with those 2 fan chests up there where, like, if you flame them and break them both at the same time... Actually, I don't think we mentioned it, but the fan chest lids, when you break them, like, fly off and can break things. You may have seen me do that in a couple points. It's not too important, but it's a little nice thing where you don't have to go out of your way. The reason that's important is because, like, right there, I sniped an enemy, so if you flame them both at the same time, the lids actually, like, collide midair and don't kill him. So I get 1 flame on the first fan chest, and then walk around and flame both with the second and third flame. But, I missed the flame on the back one on the first try, so I was a little delayed on that cycle. Not a big deal, just have to wait for it for a second. Dreamweavers is personally my favorite homeworld, just like the aesthetic and the soundtrack here is really good. But it also introduces a lot of cool concepts and uses a lot of them. It's like that fool right there I just flamed. There's that's in a couple different levels, but like you'll hit him and he will activate a platform or something for a little bit of time. And like you saw, it lowered that platform that was in the water for me to go get the gem on top. We'll see a lot more of him later, not in this level. Haunted Towers, though, is another level that got a pretty big reroute when keyboard mouse strats were found, because we used to... You'll see in a second, there are these fairies that give you kisses. They're also in high caves, but I skipped those for the Supercharge. You'll see right here, this fairy. She gives you a little kiss, and then you get a Super Flame, which will let me actually break metal while I have it. But you can see on the right, there's a timer for like how long I have it for. We used to go straight to a point in the level where there's a fairy that will give you a permanent one, and skip all the fairies along, or like as many of the fairies on the way as we could. But we found out once, like when keyboard mouse is a thing, that if you'll see the route I do here, we're gonna supercharge a lot of these metal guys here, so that we don't have to backtrack to the start of the level once we get that stronger, or like the longer super flame. So even though it's like we take the time loss of getting one extra kiss right here, we have to sit here and wait for this. It ends up saving time overall just because you have to cut out the backtracking. And then in this whirlwind, I'm going to switch to keyboard mouse and... Okay, nice. One of the supercharges went smoothly. Finally. And then we kind of skip our way over to this like secret part of the level where we're gonna get the permanent super flame right here. And like I said, this one's, you're not gonna see the bar on the side. This one's gonna last until we leave the level.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just for this level. It doesn't allow us to take it out of the level, or we haven't found a way to do that yet. But who knows?
I believe there's a glitch on the 1.0 console version to do that, but I've never ran this game on console, so I'm not sure about that. Not the person to ask. Do you want to squeeze in a donation or two right now? Be a good time.
I would like to just bring up the fact that those of you who are watching, you have a chance to win prizes based on your contributions to this marathon. For example, by donating $30, you can be entered to win a custom ESA-themed Nintendo Switch Pro Controller by Spicy Frog. And I would just like to thank you all so much for the contributions you've made so far.
I think I'm going to be making a pretty big contribution because I have bonked a lot this run.
Should have done like $3.
Yeah, I really should. I didn't really think about how many times you do end up bonking in a full run. I committed. Too late to back out now.
I might as well just up it to 10. I'm kidding.
I don't know about that.
No, I know.
My wallet's already hurting. I don't need to go broke. Like I said with the fools earlier, this level actually has them like within the level, and they have these lanterns, which for whatever reason make the enemies like bigger and smaller. It'll make sense when you see it in a second, like that. So you can flame. They go on like cycles, but you can also flame the fools to activate them and make the enemies small. These big turtles you can't kill otherwise when they're big, so.
The dogs you can flame, or you can flame them when they're big, and then you can flame or charge them when they're small.
Yeah, you still want them to be small generally, so you can charge them like that. But if you have to flame them, it's not a big deal. Well, I used to think this level was like the easiest in the game, and then when I figured out like the optimal cycles you could actually hit if you go fast enough, it's made it like one of the hardest levels for me to do perfect. Like you can see there was a little slow in that one dog was able to get big before I got to it. Not a huge like time loss if you mess it up, but it is just really hard to catch everything in this level.
Another difference, as this is a kind of remaster of the original games from the early 2000s, late 90s, is that the cupids in this level, you couldn't charge them in the original game, but you can charge them here, which allows for us to, just be able to charge rather than having to stop and flame them.
Not really sure why they like changed a couple of little things like that. I think that might be one of like the only changes like that I can think of, to be honest.
Yeah, there's not too many of those kind of things, but just
like little things a casual player would never notice.
Yeah. But yeah, this level actually kind of works out to almost kind of some of the levels we obviously like have created our own routes within the level, but this one almost has like its own like intended route, or we're not really skipping or doing anything necessarily out of order. We just kind of know the best way to kind of run through this level because there's a lot of tunnels, lots of like areas, but they kind of all flow into one another really nicely.
You may have seen it almost looked like I might have jumped off and died, but there's like a secret little passage underneath one of those areas that you usually see from like a later part in the level. But if you just go down immediately, it works out because there's a firework at the end of that path. Whoa, okay. Never seen that either. I don't know what's going on this run. A lot of weird things. Camera jump. But yeah, there's a firework at the end of that path, which you need to light to break one of those strong chests. So it's faster to do that first and then go back to that area later. And then this is the cannon we were talking about all the way back in Peacekeepers. This one, if I can get all 3 inputs going, yeah, you can see how fast you can turn it. You're not supposed to turn it nearly that fast. So like I said, I'm holding right on analog, right on D-pad, and then I use my right hand to hold right on the arrow on the keyboard. And then coming up is Icy Flight. This is the last flight. Like I said, there's a flight in every world except for the last one. So we're coming up close to the end from the second to last homeworld now. I'm missing a red gem. That's not good. I hope that's the one right outside the portal. If not, we're gonna have to go searching for a gem. I had the red gem count out of Dark Passage, so I missed something between there and now. So we'll figure it out. I feel like it's one right outside the portal. I hope.
Yeah, this level has, again, with all the flight levels, there's always some sense of like a cycle to hit because there's often a moving thing.
Everyone except for a night flight has moving things.
Yeah. So this one is just a train that you want to be hitting on certain timings just so you kind of don't have to chase the train. And this is also the only flight level where there isn't really a good animation cancel. There would be if you like let one of the trains go into like one of the tunnels, but you would waste too much time already by doing that. So what you're going to see Cat do is you're going to see him try to pause here.
I got close. So yeah, so when you if you try and pause, like if you just if you flame the last thing and let it finish, you spiral up and then you go to the quit and retry screen. If you pause on the correct frame, it's another frame perfect pause. You are able to let the game like figure out that you've collected everything, and then you can just quit and you don't have to wait for like the flight. That's the animation cancel we were talking about earlier.
And you can do it on every single flight. It would I believe, technically be the fastest way to do every single flight, but because it's, a frame perfect pause, it's a little bit inconsistent, which is why we only really think it's worth it to go for it on the one level that doesn't have one. Doesn't have a fast animation cancel.
On the other flights, it would save like a quarter of a second, maybe even less, so it's definitely not worth it for a frame perfect pause. Like, you would just have to pause, a little bit early, and then you'd lose like way more time than you would save if you would hit it. So Lofty's a bit of a weird level because we have some weird routing here. Another level, like I said, pretty much every level got changed when we found keyboard and mouse supercharging, but this one is like, you would probably never expect it to be done this way.
Yeah, and something to say for this level is having these whirlwinds that you have to open up or release, like the fairies that are in the cages, to be able to, go past them. And there's certain spots where you actually, I believe we skip over breaking open certain ones, but like there's certain areas that you can make a jump to it, but you have to first release the fairies, otherwise there's just like an invisible wall in front of you.
Yeah, kind of annoying from the developers. They just put an invisible wall until you free them fairies and do it the intended way. Yeah. And then right here, I'm going to be going for... there's like some weird collision on this door frame right here, so if I'm able to hit the right spot, yeah, you're able to like jump up off of it, and it skips having to do one of the supercharges to get up here. And I got an extra life from that, but that didn't really matter. Just a little thing is that every 10th fodder you kill gives you an extra life in this game. Oh, that's sad. I just barely missed the cycle. So I gotta go back up and just get this balloon. But yeah, every 10th fodder will give you a extra life. And in this run, you don't really line any of those up because it's not necessary, but it is just nice to know. Oh. So I'm gonna be skipping the key here, and it wouldn't be safe to get it. Like, there's just no backup if I just gotta do it again if I miss this. Okay, very good. Yeah, if you thought I missed that red gem at the start of the level, I did not. That was on purpose. And then I'm going to take an intentional death here, just to get back up to that supercharge ramp, because we're going to be doing even more supercharge shenanigans. They just never end.
That's kind of like been the kind of meta with KBM, is just if there is a supercharge, like
do as much of the level as humanly possible.
How long can we hold it?
Yeah,
is what the KBM meta turned into. Because obviously it's faster than just regular charging, and you get to, not have to flame fan chests and get to just run everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay, yeah, those birds can be annoying. Sometimes they just fly like above where you can reach for some reason. Oh. I need a little too fast there. And yeah, that one gem wasn't up there on that platform where I thought it might be, so we're gonna... I can only think of one place where it could be, so we're gonna go get it. It shouldn't take very long after this next level. Actually, we better do it now, or... Let me see if I can, like, see it. Did I kill... Oh yeah, I see it, so I'm just gonna go get it now. And just die. Go back to the dragon. Yeah, Sparks' range can be a little inconsistent sometimes, but I should have noticed that I didn't get that. Unfortunate. Ow. Whoops. So yeah, just take that death real quick and then go back over to where I'm supposed to go.
And now we're in another level, the kind of last boss before the main boss of the game. And as kind of Dreamweavers has, there's certain fairies and certain jesters and stuff that change certain parts of the level. So with this, there's the fairies, or the jesters rather, not fairies, that move up and down platforms. And there's certain kind of cycles, maybe cycle's the wrong word, but certain kind of timings that he needs to hit, because he'll try to like hit a jester so one of the platforms is down, so that once he gets there, it like rises up.
Yeah, and you also might have just noticed there's like two fools on that one area that like both raise a part of that platform, but you can with just one get enough height to get over and not have to wait for the other one to rise. So just a little skip. And then
here's Jocks.
Final mini boss, and a little cool thing you can do. That whirlwind just extends below the rock, so you can just jump right into it. Looks silly. And there he is. That's it. Like we said, not really much of a boss, but the bosses did get improved upon a lot in Spyro 2 and 3, but I like the charm of them in 1. Like, they're not hard at all, but they fit in the levels, I think, pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh. And, yeah.
But yeah, this whole kind of last section of the level is just kind of going back in the circle, because this level is kind of shaped like almost like a figure 8 with going up and getting shocks, and then kind of coming back to this area where he wants to get all these gems, then get up onto this platform.
Yeah, that first fool I just flamed over there lowered that platform that I just went up on, and normally I try and take it a little tighter than that and flame him earlier, but just play it safe. It's like a 20-second time loss if you miss it, because you have to like go all the way over and then wait for it to go back up, so just play a little safe.
Cool. If I squeeze in a quick donation.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. I'm just going to thank Crunch828 for their $10 donation. Thank you very much for that.
Yeah, thank you. Alright, last balloonist and last DBL to run. Nice. I actually hit all of them this run, which is not super hard, but it's nice to get. And 10,500 gems, so we are not missing anything, which is good to see. And we are entering the last homeworld. The gimmick with this final homeworld is that, like we said, we're in the first homeworld where you have to leave through that one vortex to unlock the final boss. You're supposed to leave through the vortex of each level to unlock the next level. But the same as the first homeworld, that there are gems like right around the vortex anyways, so we're not going to be losing very much time at all, just leaving right through the vortex. It might save like half a second on Twilight Harbor if we were to exit level instead, but just jump in the vortex, it's right there. But yeah, Norco for B is one of the hardest levels because there's a lot of little tricks in here that often go wrong. And then Twilight has like one of the harder supercharges in the run. And then Gnasty Gnorc has a hard trick, and then Loot has a trick that's very easy to mess up if you're nervous and like on a good pace. This whole homeworld's kind of stressful, but kind of works as like a final homeworld, even though it's it's speedrun. Oops. Oh. Oh. Don't see. Yeah, the barrels can like push each other around. You don't see that very often though. I just wanted to use that barrel to break open that metal chest earlier. Normally you're supposed to like flame that TNT so that it like that's right next to it and just wait for it, but it's a little bit faster to hit it. It also auto locks onto it, so you have to hit it like the right way so it doesn't auto lock, or else it won't. It'll just hit the wall and not break. And then another little boosted jump to get up on that bridge right there. Funny story, that bridge right there, back when this was run on console, not out on PC yet, there was no trick to like skip. There's a trick now on PC to skip this entire level, but console doesn't have that, and they used to have to jump up on that bridge to run through this level quickly. And people used to hate that jump because it was really inconsistent and weird, even though it doesn't seem like it's a very hard jump. And that was because they didn't know boosted jumps were a thing. So like, if you kind of knew how to do it, but you didn't really understand what it was, people would boost the jump and get it. But if you didn't, then you would just miss it. Oops. And right at the end of the run, very frustrating to kill a run to something stupid like that.
I believe with all of these barrels, you can technically, if you kind of release charge at the right time, I believe you can kind of do like a bonkless kind of charge on them, where you'll get them going forward, but you won't like kind of be sent back like he is. But that's really hard to do and not that consistent.
Oh, I can't believe I got all those. Yeah, getting those guys off the barrels, you have to do a boosted jump at the right distance so that you're high enough and at the right spot to like charge them, and then you need to quickly charge them and let go of charge and get away from the barrel, because if you do it wrong, you just hit the barrel and then it damages you and you're not saving any time doing that. But I often mess up at least one of those, usually like 2. Also, we should have mentioned this a lot earlier, but anytime we can skip getting the key for the key chest, it's definitely something we try and do. Because, one, if you're avoiding getting the key and going out of your way for it, it could save time. But mainly, there's like a key animation where you have to watch it go into the chest, and that's slow. So we're able to just hit that barrel into it and break it without the key, and just save it a little bit.
And again, we need to leave through the vortex to open the next level for both to open Twilight and then to open Gnasty. So.
Alright, and then Twilight Harbor has the final Supercharge, and I would have said before this was the hardest, but I don't think it's still really hard, but it's not like the hardest anymore, I don't think. I've just gotten better at it since then. We're going to be picking up we're going to be skipping all this stuff like right at the start we're going to be getting, but then we're going to be skipping a lot in the middle section of the level, and we're going to be cleaning it up with Supercharge, because there is a metal chest that kind of, it's like one area you have to Supercharge to the like intended, so you have to have the Supercharge to get up there and get this stuff, and then there's a metal chest back here you're supposed to Supercharge to break. So the old route used to do 2 death abuses, where you used to go up to like the Supercharge area, and like that's the intended way, and then get all that stuff, and then death abuse to go back to the ramp, and then you would go get the metal chest and death abuse so that you could continue the level. But if everything goes right, there's going to be 1 death abuse, and it'll be after I've already collected everything, so. Flame this ramp. And then this is the Supercharge. Alright. That's like the hardest part of it, and everything, so. Oh, I think I missed that red gem. That's actually not a big deal at all. Oh, that's a bigger deal. Whoops. I can just... the red gem I did miss, so I'm just gonna grab that here, and then Death Abuse. And that's just gonna take me over back to the dragon. And then I did miss that one chest, so I'm gonna have to run back up there. In order to get the jump from like the top of this ramp you saw over to that area, like to my right, you do have to get like a lot of, you have to get like a pretty precise jump. I'm actually gonna try, I should have explained it first, but I'm gonna try this. So,
this Supercharge is really, really hard.
Yes. I didn't really oh, wow. I didn't explain, I was gonna explain it before I did it, but I kind of just, oh wow, I'm taking a lot of hits here. That Supercharge would be worth it and would be faster if you could hit the entire thing very consistently. Whoops. But I've never been able to hit the entire Supercharge once in practice, so I was just gonna try and like show it off a little bit, because if you mess it up like in the middle, it's the same speed as doing the intended strat, which is, oh my god.
Also, just a
Okay.
quick mention of the fact that they don't have the Dorito guns like they do in the OG. We got Splatoon guns in the
Yeah.
Reignited Trilogy.
This is a kid-friendly game, Randy.
It's true.
And then I'm gonna try and do one last flying skip here. Hopefully I can get it. No, I'm gonna have to save it quick because I have no sparks here. I really need it.
Yeah, this is the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
This is Gnasty Gnorc.
And
Person that lore-wise you called ugly, and then he trapped all the dragons in stone or in crystal and stuff.
yeah, that's the entire story. We called him, or somebody called him ugly, and then he got mad and trapped everyone. That's all there is to it. This is probably the hardest boss level because of like the level itself, not the boss. The boss is very easy. He just stands in two spots and you flame him. But I'm gonna be going for something called one cycle, where the final boss here is gonna run around on a track, and there's a bunch of gems and chests and stuff on the track. And if you are very, very good with it, you can get everything on the track and also hit him at the end and not have to watch him do another lap. We used to skip things on the track and then go back for them later because we thought it was basically impossible to get everything in one lap. But since movement standards have just gotten higher from this game being out longer, we found out it is possible, and it's kind of tight, so I'm going to try and focus here. No, wow. So, I'm still probably going to get the one cycle, but I'm going to have to go down for a chest, which is unfortunate. Yeah. And then the hardest part of it was probably that blue gem right there, because if you don't land directly on it, Sparks just doesn't want to pick it up for you, so... And then, yeah. Close. Just missed one chest, unfortunately, so I gotta go down for it. Where was it? Oh, it's hiding. Yeah. And this is why you really don't want him to do 2 laps, because you have to run this whole track again, and it's pretty slow. Like I said, it's very tight. Like, I just didn't... I'm trying to, like, clip those chests, like, right with the corner of Spyro, so that I can minimize, like, the distance I'm traveling, just to make sure I can get them. So, unfortunately, you just miss the chest sometimes.
And the one thing that is very, very nice about SRT is that we do not have to watch the credits like the OG version of the game. And we do not have a stupidly hard trick to skip the credits. We just have to press triangle. Which is also one of the only things that any of the KBM runners, you have to have a controller to be able to skip the cutscene. And you can technically do the trick that Kat is going to do in this level on KBM, but it's a lot more difficult. So a lot of people that run KBM do this part with controller.
It's stupidly hard. Like, what I'm gonna... If you want to explain height cap, because it's more relevant in the games you run.
Yeah, I will also say this is the last level, so when he hits the exit vortex, that'll be it. But basically, the game prescribes you a height cap, so how high you can fly. But what we do is, what Kat did there was, he held up slightly on the left stick and then pressed down on the D-pad. And what that does is it makes the game think that you're flying downwards when you're actually flying upwards. And so that doesn't give you the height cap, so you can kind of get up to there. And why he had to kill that last thief is that's the last thief that you're supposed to get. Normally you're supposed to go around, get a bunch of thieves, get their keys, and then as you progress you can fly further and further, like higher and higher. But if we get the last one, well, we can fly the highest we can fly.
Oh, I didn't even know you could do that. That was actually even cooler than what I usually do. I think I said earlier, you can snipe the those chests, or you can snipe things with the fan chest lids, and I intentionally skipped one to try and snipe it. But I never even knew you could snipe that second one. I just did that on accident. Gonna be doing that from now on. Seems kind of obvious now that I think about it.
Yeah, well, normally they would like hit each other if you kind of aim them.
Yeah.
But
if you do it right, you can make them not hit each other.
Yeah.
And then this is going to be the last room. I'm going to be cleaning up all these gems. This is the loot part of Gnasty's loot. And I'm going to leave this hallway and go into the vortex, and that'll be time. So just a second. And time.
GG.
Yeah, it's a little pretty shaky at the start, but overall it went pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
And then I'll show the in-game time, even though it doesn't matter whatsoever. Or not. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. If anyone cares, just for reference, I got a 1:14:49 loadless, which is about a little bit over 4 minutes behind record. So not the cleanest run, but I think it was a good overall. But yeah, that's it. Going to be it for me. So if you guys want to take over.
All right, an awesome run. Showcase of Spyro by toastedkat. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Up next, we're going to have Raikou playing Tamba. Keep those donations coming as they're going towards a great cause, and stay tuned as we continue ESA Summer 21.